Good morning to you all learners. I am Professor S. Kripanidhi, heading the Department of Biotechnology at Vignan's Foundation for Science, Technology and Research, a deemed university located in the rural vicinity, Vadlamudi, Andhra Pradesh, India. And myself and Dr. A. Vijaya are giving the presentations on the course Molecular Phylogenetics, and Dr. Vijay is an expert in molecular phylogenetics. He has done work for his PhD on the molecular phylogenetics of pulmonates, Stylometaphora, and he has published nearly 10 publications. He is familiar with the software tools, bioinformatic tools like Raxmal, Mr. Bay, Mega, Mr. Bayes and Mega and others. And he has published good many number of publications in this. He has also applied to a UGC project on this series of what is it called, the phylogeny. Okay, now, so we are now looking into this molecular phylogeny. Unit 1, systematics and classification, and topic 3, polytype species, polytypic species. Hitherto we have seen the population, sympatric and allopathic speciation. Later we have seen the sibling species, now polytypic species. So all through we are emphasizing the species because in the biodiversity, okay, so the bewildering varieties of the species that are prevailing, that is the species is the, what is it called, the unit that we are going to speak at the large. We are not speaking the individuals in the biodiversity. Individuals in the biodiversity are only transient vehicles in the generations to generation. But the species as a whole we have to understand. Species will be there for generations to come, but individual will be there only for one generation. So that's what we are to understand the biodiversity in line with the species. Okay, the species maintains the sustainability of the environment. Okay, so that's what hitherto we have seen the sibling species. Now let us see the details of the polytypic species in this particular presentation. Okay, thank you. Let's proceed. So let us see an animated video on endangered species.
Leopards, rhinos, gorillas, pandas, polar bears. Why are all these animals endangered? Now in Endangered Animals. About 1/3 of all animals and plants are endangered to become extinct. No good news, unfortunately. How do they actually become endangered? And what animal species are affected? The Amur leopard is one of the most beautiful big cats, but also one of the world's rarest. Its habitat is being increasingly destroyed due to deforestation and slash and burn. This is why the Amur leopard is an endangered species. A rhino's horn is a desired trophy for hunters and a valuable booty for poachers. They do not care that these animals are nearly extinct by now, and that hunting rhinos is forbidden. This beautiful sea turtle is a protected species. Nevertheless, it's being hunted because of its shell and meat. The pollution of the ocean is a threat to the hawksbill turtle too, particularly the plastic waste floating throughout the ocean. The turtles cannot distinguish this from jellyfish. Poachers are the biggest threat for mountain gorillas. Due to deforestation and slash and burn, it's getting increasingly difficult for the apes to stay in their habitats and to find enough food. The scales of the pangolin are believed to be a medical cure. This belief is fatal for many of these animals. Yet, the scales actually consist of the same material as our fingernails. The polar bear lives in the Arctic region and mainly feeds on seals. Due to global warming, the Arctic ice is increasingly melting. This means that the polar bear has to move further north again and again in order to survive. The red panda feeds on bamboo. Due to deforestation, it finds less and less food and protection. The red panda is also being hunted because of its beautiful coat. The giant panda also feeds on bamboo. The clearance of forests is not the only threat to them, though. The problem is that bamboo only blossoms about once every 100 years and then dies off because of a lack of nutrients. Therefore, it's very difficult to reforest bamboo. Why do animals become endangered? A lot of animals lose their habitat due to global warming, deforestation, increasing pollution, hunting, and poaching.
So just now, we have gone through a wonderful And again, very catchy video on endangered species, wherein it is shown that leopard, sea turtle, rhinoceros, jellyfish, pandas, all are shown. Particularly jellyfish, the protein that is taken from the jellyfish called fluorescent protein. The green fluorescent protein is widely being used in the research. So like this, these animals are being exploited for various purposes, and which is basically anthropogenic, and as a result, over the time their habitat is also getting crunched. The generations that come in future may not be in a position to see these beautiful creatures on Earth. Okay, now let us see the polytypic species objectives. To familiarize with the concept of polytypic species and to understand the same with an example, the expected outcome that the learners will be following here is the definition for the term polytypic species will be known. The concept of polytypic species as species that contain two or more subspecies are called polytypic will be known along with the study of a few examples. Why? Every species you say independent, but again polytypic. That is, they are closely related and associated with the various food habits and all those things. That's what they are said to be subspecies within the species. Now let us see a few more details definition of polytypic species. Many species vary in space or time and consists of recognizably different populations. A population that the taxonomist considers to differ sufficiently from previously named population of a species is called as a subspecies. Okay. Species that contain two or more subspecies are called polytypic. Okay, subspecies. Subspecies, a taxonomist considers to differ sufficiently from the other species which is named earlier. Okay, now species that are not subdivided into subspecies are called monotypic species. Our Homo sapiens, we are monotypic, we are single. Recognition of fact that many species taxa, particularly widely distributed species, are polytypic, was one of the most important development in taxonomy. Okay, so again to repeat in different way, when a species is designated as polytypic, it means that all the members of the classification can be further divided into a minimum of two subtypes. So each subspecies designation typically refers to a very specific population of organisms that can only be found in one habitat. Okay, that habitat is not shared with other subspecies of the same species classification. That's what here, subspecies. Now let us see, because these distinct populations are located at a significant distance from each other, that is, where a species means it is having a niche. It is having a, see, we are all Homo sapiens, where are we living? We are there wherever there is agriculture, wherever there is a sort of a business and all those things. And we are not there in the forest, we are not there in the waters. That's what here, a species is having a significant distance from each other, often isolated by large bodies of water or mountains. The subspecies of a polytypic species tend not to reproduce together. Okay, so biologists are clear to point out, however, that subspecies are biologically capable of producing fertile offspring. Okay, in fact, many subspecies have been known to procreate when in close proximity to each other. At that time, we are to, what is that we are going to have a cryptic species we are going to generate. That is we are not going to speak now. The occurrence of polytypic species in the animal kingdom. The frequency of polytypic species differs from animal group to animal group. They occur most frequently where species are not contiguously distributed. In most well-studied groups of animals, between 40 and 80% of the species are polytypic. Okay, but some highly, that's what we are telling, all these subspecies are together for interaction. That interaction makes the environment sustainable, ecosystem sustainable. Okay, but some highly specialized groups, particularly certain host plant-specific interaction, okay, do not readily form polytypic species. Polytypic species are also scarce or absent in groups with slight species differences. That is within sibling species. Examples of polytypic species. One example of polytypic species is the African elephant. This elephant species belongs to the larger genus known as Loxodonta under the Elephantidae family. The African elephant species divide into two subspecies, African forest elephant and African savanna elephant. Savanna is again a grassland forest in Africa. The difference between these two subspecies is in their size and habitat. As its name suggests, the African forest elephant lives in forest habitats. It is significantly smaller than the African savanna elephant, growing to a maximum size of 8.2 feet in height. The African savanna elephant, in contrast, can reach over 13 feet in height, making it the largest terrestrial animal on Earth. These two are believed to have a apart sometime between 2 to 7 million years ago. So this is the figure showing African forest elephants living in savanna grasslands. Okay. So summary. The definition for the term polytypic species is explained. The explanation for polytypic species as a group of populations that live in separate habitats or geographical areas is elucidated. Okay. The concept of sibling species is explained using a few examples. What is meant by polytypic species? Describe polytypic species with a few examples. Thank you all. Now with this, we are seeing sympatric speciation, allopathic speciation, sibling species. Here and now I explained about the definition of the species. Now we have gone through the polytypic species. Thank you, one and all. Please go through this.